is Daniel. I'm coming directly from Warstein. Warstein is a small city between Dortmund and Kassel, and our main headquarters located there. And my topic today is which I brought you is impact of digitalization technologies on logistics workforce. So that's a very important topic because we are talking always about digitalization technologies. We're talking how nice robots are, but sometimes we forget the people behind that. And I think to remember that people are one of the valuable assets, and this is always a kind of sentence which everybody has in mind, but in logistics I think it's really true. People play an important role. I think we need to remember that, and this is a very important factor for implementing digitalization technologies, and it's an important factor if you are creating a success story or not. Yeah, WARSTEINER, who is that? Which company we are talking about? WARSTEINER is a premium beer brand from Germany, but we are very international as well. We are exporting our products into 50 countries worldwide. And you see here our main portfolio, our locations. I'm responsible for 8 logistics locations in Germany, which you see here. We have some Bavarian ones here. We have mainly around our headquarters some locations with several brands, and in Düsseldorf as well. And we have different types of beers, which we are distributing to our customers. Then you see here around this map some of our brewery locations. They're very different from production, from supply chain management point of view, and therefore it's very interesting to work for such a company. Yeah. Just a small overview about our portfolio. Some of the beers I hope you know as well. And this is already enough regarding the advertising part. Let's talk about the main facts in digitalization. So I brought you some key figures, and what we need to consider is that digitalization is here. We think that, but the reality is digitalization will come. Yeah, it is not here yet. That's my experience from my previous job. So I've been a consultant for 10 years, and I was consulting a lot of companies worldwide, traveling around the world, and I saw they wanted to do digitalization projects, but they couldn't. And yeah, a questionnaire which we have sent out these days were saying that 98% of the companies think that digitalization will improve their processes. So it's very, very important to do digitalization. Yeah, so everybody is believing digitalization is a very, very good thing. 78% say that digitalization is a big challenge. So companies need help. They cannot do it by themselves. They need consultants, they need people, they need educations, they need trainings. It's a big challenge, it's a big step, a big hurdle to implement digitalization technologies. Then, if you're talking about implementation, just 23% already implemented digitalization technologies with a certain degree of maturity. Yeah, so you can implement the process, but the question is always, to which degree did you do that? Is it successful, or is it just half implemented? But anyway, a third of the companies, they're saying around about, we have digitalization technologies implemented. And a very important figure, because I think robots are one of the most important technologies, because if you're talking about people, now I talk about people, impact on workforce, I think one of the counterparts could be or is a robot, to use robots. And just 1% of the companies, they use robots here and there. And under robots, I understand also AGVs, so automated guided vehicles, for example, not just the robot which looks like a robot, or just a robot arm. Also, automated guided vehicles are robots in this case. And if we look today in a common warehouse in Germany, so a logistics facility, you find less robots than on the planet Mars. Now we have more robots on Mars than in a common warehouse in Germany. And I think this reflects already the implementation degree of digitalization, especially in Germany, in Europe. We are not there yet. I think that's the summary. So if I look 100 years back in 1921, and just focusing on logistics, yeah, we were carrying cartons to load or to unload a ship, a truck. Today, in 2021, we are still carrying cartons. No digitalization. In 1921, we were carrying sacks. In 2021, we are still carrying sacks. No digitalization. In 1921, we were packing cartons, parcels on a packaging table, and guess in 2021 we are still packing parcels on a packaging table in warehouses in Germany. In 1921, the people in the warehouse, and that's my main focus, the people were playing the important role in a company. And it is still the case today, people play the most important role in the warehouse. And the last one, in 1921, people were even sleeping in a warehouse because they were working so long. And of course, in 2021, this will not happen anymore. So you see, digitalization is not there yet because we're still doing a lot of manual work and we need to change that. So very good companies, they do the following. They have two pillars. They have their core business with their core processes. And on the second pillar, they're doing digital transformation. In the first pillar, you do your normal stuff, traditional processes, normal standard procedures, work as usual. Yeah, it's clear, it's standardized, no mistakes. And in the second pillar, you need to try out. You need to try out to dive into digitalization. You need to transform your company. And in the second pillar, mistakes are allowed. Failing is allowed because you need to try, you need to test. If you don't have that second pillar in your company, you will automatically completely fail because others are there. Startups, you have some startups outside on the hallway. Startups will come and they will pass by very easily because they have this second pillar. They're very strong, they have a good financial background, they have very creative, innovative, dynamic people on board, and they will pass by if you don't have that second pillar in your company. So my suggestion is create a second pillar if you don't have that yet. Digital transformation. That's very important. So if we're talking about logistics and if we're talking about several branches, sectors, there's a different maturity degree of the implementation of digitalization. And I think everybody knows that media, telecom, insurance, banking, we're talking about bitcoins and stuff like that, they're far, far away. They have already implemented several years ago digitalization technologies. And we are here in logistics. We are at the borderline of jumping into digitalization. And that makes it so important for companies, if you have your own logistics operations, if you're a logistics service provider, or in my responsibility, I'm responsible for several warehouses for a lot of people. And if we're talking about WARSTEINER, WARSTEINER is a very traditional company. We were founded in 1753, so 260, 70 years ago. And my average age of people in my organization is 52. They're in the company for 25, 30 years. So you can imagine what hurdle that is to tell them tomorrow there will be a robot working with you. So that's a very big challenge also for me. And we are, as I said, at the borderline of jumping into the logistics, plus very traditional processes, very traditional philosophy, very loyal people in terms of their 30 years in the company. So that makes it so important and so interesting to look into logistics because the step is very close. So if we're looking into employees' statements, if we're talking about digitalization, if we're talking about robots, if we are talking about human-machine interaction, then you get these statements very easily. Yeah, so for example, is my job going to be eliminated? Yeah, by a robot, for example. Do I lose my jobs? To work with a robot, it's super complicated. I cannot do that. I need to reject this. Also, do I need to spend all my day with repetitive work? So am I getting bored? Traffic rules within the logistics facility. Yeah, you need to set up different traffic rules. Yeah, normally people, they were allowed to do everything, to use pathways, to walk from this corner to this corner very easily. Now maybe AGVs or robots might cross. So there are traffic rules now, there are lighting systems, there are several illuminations or things on the floor which guide you through a certain path. You need to consider this. So they are restricted in their freedom maybe in their logistics facility where they have been working for 30 years. And also, I won't be able to talk with my colleague while working. So your answer could be, why are you talking while you're working? But this is, of course, social competency. Yeah, people want to talk. People come to work because they want to see, they want to meet colleagues. And it's very important for my people as well. They're not just coming because their boss is so nice. They're coming because they want to see their colleagues and to talk. And with a robot, okay, you can talk with a robot, of course, but maybe the conversation ends somewhere at a certain point. But these are statements from employees. They are afraid. They are afraid in different kind of manners. And this you need to consider if you're talking about implementing digitalization technologies. They're concerned. And what you need is a digital people perspective, people who have a digital mindset. And the question is always, what is a digital mindset? Who are these people? Is it a guy like this? Or is it maybe a guy like this, a digital guy? Or is it somebody like this? Who is a digital person? Who has a digital mindset? You're taking photos. This is not my brother, although he looks like me a little bit. No, he isn't. Yeah, the question is digital mindset. Who is that? And if we're talking about importance of workforce, and I was just thinking what are the most important digital technologies you can implement, I think the list here is quite comprehensive if we're talking about current digitalization technologies, which might affect workforce, which might making people afraid. We have physical robots, and honestly, actually, what we are doing at WARSTEINER, we are trying also to implement robots or AGVs, but not to replace people, to create an environment where people work with robots. And I tell always my people, look, you need to carry every day 100 times from this corner to this corner an empty bin. Is this fun work for you? Do you like your work? And of course, they come up and they're saying, no, of course, I don't like this. This is boring. And then I offer them a solution. I offer them a machine-human being interaction with the robot, that the robot is doing these simple, repetitive jobs. And I offer him a different job, another job, where I can use his brain, where I can use his brain power. And this is very often the case in when you're implementing digitalization technologies. You need to look for repetitive processes, simple processes, which can be done by a robot, and where you can put your workforce on a different function level where he can use his brain power. This should be the offer. And in 90% of the cases, as I said, the robot will not replace him, he will support him. Then we have chatbots, RPA, Internet of Things, wearables. So a lot of help, a lot of support, where you can create understanding in your workforce that this might help us as a company, and of course, the certain employee, the certain worker. Drones, I'm actually testing drones as well. It's also very important to understand that drones have several use cases, but you need to create your personal use case for drones, and also for the others, of course. Drones, we're actually testing for checking empties. So we have a huge area where we have empty crates and bottles. And we have a warehouse management system, but also to replace several times that we need to check that manual and count manually the crates and the empties. This is sometimes necessary. I can use drones. Security is a very good use case. Yeah, because if you have a big area, you have a huge fence, but still you can do a geofencing with the drone, and this drone flies automatically within that geofence around your facility, around your surroundings of your facility, and checks if there's somebody or not. This is very interesting, a very good use case for almost every company. And then we have some other things which we can use, where we can use a drone, because they can actually carry, let's say, 8 to 10 kg. So that's a lot. That's a crate with beer. So I'm actually thinking to deliver a crate of beer to somewhere, because you checked out the map with the locations, and you saw that we have in Bavaria a lot of locations. And we have also some small restaurants on very big, within the Alps, for example. And to bring them beer, we have a special truck. It's very slow, and you can climb up the hills. But I'm actually thinking, does it make sense to bring here and there? I mean, it's also a marketing thing to bring a crate of beer up the hill. And we have created 10 use cases. And what you need to do then is you create your business case to pitch this at your CEO, at your managing director, whomever, to create awareness that a drone might make sense. Blockchain, it's not so easy to understand, and I think there are some sessions regarding blockchain and some people who can even tell you better what blockchain is. It's complicated. We don't need that actually. Big data and 3D printing is also very important. Big data analytics projects. So this is old. This is very old, 60 years old. Yeah, data analytics was born in the 1960s by a Danish guy called Peter Nauer, and he developed data analytics. And also Zalando and other e-commerce companies who are very successful, 10 years ago they already did data analytics projects. So they found out in their warehouse, for example, that 35-year-old guys in the summer month, they are always buying red trousers with white shirts in 70% of the cases. I don't know the reason why is that, but they correlated data points and they found it out. And what are you doing then if you're a very smart logistics guy in this case? You bring the red trousers together with the white shirts, put it into one shelf, and then you reduce picking times. And this is what we are doing as well. We have a dynamic ABC structure. So I try to find out, how does the normal customer order looks like? How many positions, which beers, and then I bring them together in my storage. It reduces a lot picking times with the forklifts. Then this saves time, this saves costs in terms of fuel and electricity. Yeah, and 3D printing is also very interesting. A normal 3D printer costs 250 euro, a small one, not an industrial one, but you can test it out. And we have a lot of spare parts for our machines, of course, in the whole network. And we have a lot of screws and stuff like that. And to print it out on demand, wherever it is needed, it will save a lot of working capital, of course. So these are very cool topics, and to prioritize them, robotics is for me a topic, drones, big data, and 3D printing. These are my major topics actually, which I'm diving into it. And the biggest challenge, I think, in these in the work interaction with the employees is robots, because this is in the interacting module with the employees, which has the biggest impact. So I looked into my workforce and I asked them, hey, what do you need? How does the future look like? What do you want? What do you want from me as your boss? And they said, yeah, if you're looking into digitalization, you need to upskill myself. We need to invest into trainings. And there are a lot of education companies there, universities, who build up digital learners, digital people. So you can easily go into education regarding digitalization. Communication and problem solving, soft skills. We need to skill up our people regarding soft skills. Education, I said that already, but also communication is very important. End-to-end process thinking. Yeah, we don't look into processes. We're looking end-to-end. It's a supply chain in my case. It's not a process. It's not a company. It's a logistics network with different companies, different processes. Yeah, then you need to be flexible, not just with your own workforce, also in interaction with the robot. Maybe the robot will work a little bit longer than the employee. Coaching skills, it's also what people want. They don't want bosses. I'm not the boss, I'm their mentor, I'm their coach. So a different thinking. Basic digital knowledge, so you need to skill up them and you need to create a digital mindset, as I said. Data analytics, we need to work with data. We need to work with steering KPIs. We need to not just work with them, we need to secure them in a certain manner. So these are the main topics which my employees need and want. And this is also always regarding digitalization, very important to keep that in mind. People's mindset changed already. And we will have 30% of our current employees, we will need to create new positions. We will not have any more forklift drivers. We will have, and you see that here, autonomous vehicle supervisors, digital task workers, robot supervisors. Nobody will drive anymore a forklift. We will have a headquarter of screens and we will steer drones. We will steer robots. And therefore we need to educate our people. We need to bring them into this new job function. But don't forget, please don't forget, there is a digital dementia. So when I've been last week on Mallorca with my son, he typed in 3 times the PIN code, but in the wrong way. So my cell phone was off. Digital dementia, I have it also already, to a certain degree. I could not do anything anymore. I was completely out of everything. My tickets weren't there anymore. I could not check in. I needed to arrange a wake-up call with the hotel. Even the hotel was not able to do a wake-up call because everybody has 1 or 2 cell phones. So this is very interesting that we're relying on our cell phone, I needed to do an antigen test. I went to the doctor and he said, you need to check in here on this website. I said, I don't have a cell phone anymore, I'm sorry. Can I fill in the form? We don't have forms anymore. Okay, how do I do the test now? No possibility in our doctor's office. What are you doing then? Digital dementia, you rely on your cell phone completely. So please have a backup process in mind without digitalization. Have it in your wherever in your office and pull it out if it's needed. So these are the main things I want to give you as a suggestion. That we need to establish a digital vision. You need to foster digital culture as a digital mindset. You need to put it into your people. You need to assess the benefits. There need to be a use case. Cognitive functions, is that what I said? Digital dementia. Cognitive functions, you need to streamline and you need to foster digital cognitive functions still. Education of your workforce, of your organization, you need to find suitable partners, and maybe outside you will find some, to create digital technologies and implement them, and you need to do a lot of communication and change management. And then these, I think, the 8 key factors to create success in your company. I will skip this because we are running a little bit out of time and we started a little bit later. But just as an overview, we have 6 types of people, and you need to identify who is in which cluster. And then you need to derive your certain communication and change management strategy to approach them, to bring them from maybe here to here regarding familiarization and of digitalization technologies and to see advantages in digitalization. So these are the benefits of digital personas. Yeah, as I said, strategy development of change management, communication approach, if you know who is in which cluster. This is very important and this is key to implement digitalization technologies. That's it. as a last sentence, beside all the logistics, all the business and digitalization, please keep also always in mind what's really important in life. So thanks a lot.